Before it gets late, I'm gonna spall this down and biface it on video, and then I've got to review my to-do list and see what have I promised to do on video. Yeah, I'm gonna nap that Carol Ann's Irish cream bottle coming up here soon, but not yet. I am gonna nap that glass in my van. I promised to do a lot of glass videos this summer. I just don't have a place where I can set up where the glass can, you know, accidentally fly out of my napping area and it'd be okay. There's no place that I have that I can do that right now, except inside my van, and it's only okay because I say it's okay, because I'll sacrifice it for the video, but I'm not going to do that on a consistent basis, because one morning I'll wake up with a piece of glass stuck in my eye. I know it would happen, and in my eye or somewhere where maybe in my ear. I don't want to wake up with a piece of glass that I can't remove. So I will do some of it in here, and I have an idea for setting up a glass napping area, but I can't do it yet. I will do it before the end of the good weather, because I have a lot of glass I need to nap. A lot of rock challenges. People have sent me TV glass, glass from light fixtures, countertop glass, all kinds of glass and obsidian. I just have not had a place to set up yet. All right. So what is this? This is some more Paternalis chert. And Pedernal or Pedernal means flint, not rock. I got that wrong. Piedra is rock in Spanish. Okay. So this is Paternalis chert, as far as I know. Raw. Yep. I got it from Luke Chert. You can see him in the comments once in a while. Ask him and he's got chert available. Oh yes. Yeah, just email me if you need a contact for this type of material, supplier or whatever. I will share who I get my stone from. Oh yes. I will share the sources. So what is this going to be? I don't know. I don't know. Probably just a regular blade. I have most success just making and selling blades at random. It's extremely difficult for me to do anything planned as far as the types of points that I'm making. The only thing I can plan is random blades, if that makes sense. I can make random size blades. As far as certain types of points, sometimes I can make points consistently, but if I have a string of failures, I say to myself, you know what, I probably should have just made the blades, because I know I can get that far at least with all of them. You know, why go further? Why take a risk breaking the whole thing when I'm trying to do notches or whatever? Just sell the blades. Let you guys notch them if you want them. If you want to notch. But blades and arrowheads, they don't need to be notched. Nope. If you want to use them, you can just glue them into the handle or glue them into the haft. You don't need to notch them at all. In case you're wondering. If you want to make reproductions of stuff that you see in museums that have notched arrowheads and notched knife blades or whatever, yeah. But if you just want to use the stone tools, you don't need to notch anything. It's not necessary. You don't even need to put stems on anything, as long as you have good glue. I mean, we're not using these things for warfare, so they don't need to break upon impact, so they can't be shot back at you. So you don't have to worry about that part. Some arrowheads are made to break intentionally in half when you shoot them at something or shoot them at an enemy. But we don't need to worry about that. Some are notched because the glue is not good quality and you need to reinforce the haft with wrappings. Notchings help to strengthen the joint between stone and wood. But if you have good glue, like we do nowadays, the hot melt glue that we have nowadays, modern hot melt, is outstanding. You can get industrial strength hot melt. You can mix it with all sorts of pigmentation to get red, black, amber color, whatever color you want. Just mix it in with the hot melt glue. And that sort of thing. So why did I mention that? It's because, you know, if you want to sell stuff that you make, just selling the blades is pretty good. I mean, I found out that just selling the blades works pretty good. Selling flakes works okay. The shipping is expensive because they weigh a lot. And as long as the flakes are of good quality, you get repeat customers. But I have a feeling that quality is going to start getting difficult to find unless you pay a lot of money for it. You know, you get what you pay for. And you have to pay for what you need increasingly more and more as more people get into the hobby. You guys that are into ceramics, you need to get on the bandwagon and start making ceramic preforms. I'm telling you. That's where the future is, I think. Not many people are willing to invest in the money or the setup required to start mining chert or getting permits to start mining or gathering chert from these sources. It actually costs money to have an operation where you can gather legally in large quantities. Not too many guys are willing to invest the kind of money needed for that. There seems to be plenty of obsidian. So that's a market that's pretty steady, and you can probably make large blades and maybe even production work I know that some people are set up to do production work with Obsidian, and I don't know how their businesses are going, but that seems to be one avenue that doesn't have much difficulty as far as obtaining material. But it's getting to the point where I can only do random things. I cannot do regular, predictable production work. I have to be random. If I'm going to do any production work at all, it's going to have to just be the number of points, not the type of points. You know, maybe 15 blades a week, various sizes, various materials, various qualities, some heat treat, some not. Everything random. The more random it is, the more I can produce. Small points, large points, a big mix. That's the way it's looking for the future. Everything else can be regular, and I'm going to be getting into other things like Flintknapping tools. But not too much of that either. I gotta start writing books, or at least putting out dimensioned drawings of various things that you can make, you know, how-to books, how-to drawings, you know. More videos, higher quality videos. I'm not going to be able to do the knapping forever. I'm already feeling the effects. The long-term side effects in the joints. Lungs seem to be fine. My posture is okay. I can still exercise and stuff. And everything seems to be good except for the joints. And I don't want to develop arthritis too soon. I still got a lot of drawings I want to be doing. And if I have trouble with that, if I'm not able to do drawings, then I'd be lost. All right. Okay, this is actually good stuff. This is a raw piece. Now, to get it thinner than this with percussion, it's risky. This is where I would bury it as part of a cache, because this is the next stage, is the sweat stage. And yes, I'm using emotions to determine a logical progression in this sequence. It's not necessarily what I can see, but I can already feel the tension building. Normally I would say emotions are a very poor indicator of anything, but once the anxiety starts building with this particular hobby, you know that you've reached the stage. And to go further, taking a risk. Why don't I can sit here and use a bopper and go, you know, I just don't nap that way. I've tried it, like everybody else in the beginning. Just doesn't feel, it doesn't feel right. Yep, we're using emotions again. But you got to have the proper mental state, oops, to do this. Come on. Yeah, it's probably too rough. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. This is good enough for this stage. Okay. Now pretend I'm gonna bury it. Next. Nice stuff. Oh yeah, the smaller the arrowheads get, the more consistent I can be also. Like if I wanted to make a bunch of, let's see, a bunch of Madison points, that's the easy one, they're just triangles. But if I wanted to make a bunch of Perdice points, all the same size, the smaller they are, the easier it is to make a whole bunch of them. All the same size, all matching. So is that why they went to smaller projectile points over time, so that they could be more consistent in the production work? Do they need more projectiles as time went on? As the population increased and as warfare increased? Did they get smaller and smaller because they needed the production consistency so that you can be accurate with your projectiles? Did the accuracy need to improve over time? Yes, everything yes. I think warfare increased over time. I think competition for resources increased over time. The luxury of having large pieces started to decrease over time. I think the bow was known to the first Native Americans that came over before 12,000 years ago. I think the bow and arrow is older, much older than 12,000 years. But it wasn't a technology that was vital. They could survive with an easier type of archery set, which was the atlatl dart and atlatl dart thrower, or just the atlatl. Much easier to produce the atlatl and darts than it is to produce bows with complicated tillers and bowstrings. Seasoning requirements, the wood season, the wood type requirements. Arrow straightening technologies and tools, and maybe even cultivated arrow wood plots where you would coppice the materials that you were needing for your arrow shafts. And what that means is you cut the arrow wood trees or bushes down to the ground, and a bunch of suckers would come up the next year. It would take about 2 to 3 years to harvest those, but you would have them on a cycle. You know, you'd have some plots that were waiting and some ready to go every year. It's more complicated because with an atlatl dart, it doesn't need to be perfectly straight. It can be kind of wonky. It still will fly reasonably well. But with an arrow, and with the reason why you're using an arrow is so you can increase your accuracy. You do need to have a good piece of material to start with if you want to have straight arrows. The secret is start with a straight piece. If you want a straight arrow and you want it to stay straight, the secret is to start with a straight piece. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we'll wait on that one. That one was a different kind of chert. Ooh, nice. I want to get some big flakes off of these instead of trying to instead of trying to whittle them down little by little. I want some bigger flakes so that way I can utilize the material better. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. You've got to whittle it down little by little and end up with little flakes. And in that case, you just go, oh well. Oh well. Yeah, the weather's getting better. So I'll be going out on the trail more. I'll be knapping some glass. What am I going to do on the trail? Let me think here. What am I going to do? Since I'm not going to do too much rock hunting, I need to get my exercise. I'm not really into bird watching. I could do some stump shooting, but these are public trails mostly that I'm walking, so there is I don't think you can shoot archery unless it's during hunting season, and only if hunting is allowed in the area. I can probably do some stump shooting instead of hunting in the areas where there's some bow hunters. Yeah. What you shooting at, buddy? Trees. Trees. Yeah, I'm stumping. I don't know what you call it around here, but I was shooting stumps, getting some field practice. Oh, okay. You might say, aren't there private landowners out here? Aren't there private lands? You just go shooting archeries? Yep. Except I'm new. I'm new here. I don't know anybody. I knew some people in Texas, but they weren't near the city or where I was living. I was shooting archery in my backyard, but it doesn't allow you to do the real archery where the arrow arches a lot. That's the real archery. That's why they call it archery, because the arrow arches. I could do straight shot or almost straight shot archery in my backyard. At close ranges it's pretty flat trajectory, but long ranges it's a bit of an arch, a bit of a trajectory. Do you want to hunt with trajectories? No, not really. You don't really, but sometimes if you're good enough, you can shoot at small game fairly far distances, and you do have to, plan the arch. So I say small game because it doesn't really take much to injure or kill small game. So even if it's not a perfect shot, you can still get it. You can still pick up the animal, you know, or get near it and dispatch it. Whereas if you injure a deer, it runs off and there's no way to find him. Find the deer. Of course, that does happen with small game too, but I find the small game are a little bit easier to recover. Okay. Anyway, I could go squirrel shooting. Yeah. See, 25 minutes. So I want to continue with this particular piece. I can try to risk it. I'm just mumbling and rambling while I'm doing this. Yeah, because this is what I normally do. What is it, Friday? Before I do the blades, I do a bunch of bifacing and see what I got. A bunch of random bifaces, and then figure out what I'm going to do. Which ones am I going to work on? Which am I going to just sell as bifaces? Which ones are good ones to save for later, for special projects? Maybe I have a reproduction I want to do that requires a special material, that sort of thing. So bifacing is first. From random nodules. Yeah, I didn't capture anything on that one. I tried to get a big old flake. Yeah, like that. That's better. Anyway, where was I? I can make small arrowheads. Bunches of small arrowheads. But the large ones, the ones that everybody wants, are difficult. And one reason why everyone wants them, because it's hard for everyone to make them. Can't find the material, or there's lots of failures with large blades. Or they're just too expensive. You know, everyone wants to get a good deal on the large blades. They don't want to spend their life savings on just stone blades. You know? So ooch, that hurt. Crushy, smashy, smashy. Can't have too much crushy, smashy, smashy. That hurt too. Can't dig in too far. Okay, come on. Yeah. Sometimes I can use those flakes, but like that one I don't think I will, because it had too many defects. I'll try for those anyway. This is the part that is very wearing on the wrists when you try to remove these large flakes. Yes, I can make an arrowhead out of that. That's what I want. All right. Yep. Getting there, but it's 30 minutes. I'm out of time. Good thing, because I don't want to use direct percussion on this too much more, because it's kind of dicey. It's translucent stuff, right? Yeah, kind of translucent, dicey, because with this translucent stuff, I find it is a little bit more brittle than the other stuff, than the opaque stuff. Not always, but usually, I don't know. It seems like usually it's a little more delicate or more brittle than the opaque stuff. Yeah. You know, when you stash these bifaces, sometimes they're stashed so you can heat a bunch of them at the same time. Okay? You bury them, not so they get soaked with water, because I suggest burying them in a spot that remains dry. You know, especially if it's going to be toward the end of fall, approaching winter. You don't want it to be in the ground soaked with water, and all of a sudden the freeze hits. So you bury these in a dry spot and save them up. You bury them so no one can find them. They'll be safe. Dig them up, heat them up. That's always a possibility. Or just continue to work them raw. Okay? That's why you bury them. It's not so they can get soaked with water. No. It's so you keep them safe. A lot of times so you can heat them all up at the same time, or gather them into different sizes for the types of stuff you want to make. And then go on to the next stage. All right.